Ihr seid bei Atti-Tune. Diesmal geht es wieder mal um Musikerinnen und Musiker mit Haltung. Ich bin Nico. In dieser Episode spreche ich mit zwei Frauen, die ich würde mal sagen, mitgeholfen haben, einigen Geflüchteten zu zeigen, wie sie mit ihrer Musik Haltung zeigen können. Francesca und Manuela sind beide für die Organisation European Union of Music Competition tätig. Auf Deutsch ist das die Europäische Union der Musikwettbewerbe für die Jugend. Sie ist eigentlich ein Dachverband für diverse nationale Musikwettbewerbe für junge Menschen. In dem Projekt, das ich euch vorstellen möchte, geht es aber um ein bisschen was anderes. Warum das so ist, werden die beiden Frauen euch gleich dann auch erklären. Musical Storytelling war der Titel. Das war ein Workshop über mehrere Tage, wo Musikerinnen und Musiker aus verschiedenen Ländern gemeinsam Songs geschrieben haben und sie wurden dabei gecoacht von musikalischem Fachpersonal. Und nach dem Workshop, nach dem Abschlusskonzert, waren die beiden Frauen sichtlich beeindruckt. Ein kurzer Ausschnitt aus dem längeren Gespräch, das ihr dann gleich hören könnt.
We had some really nice people from Nigeria, and when they went on the stage, basically all the audience started like dancing. They really gave the passion of their song to the audience, and it was such a nice feeling.
Ein wichtiger Punkt bei der ganzen Geschichte, wenn man sich mal so vorstellt, da kommt man als Geflüchteter in Deutschland an, da braucht es doch verdammt viel Mut, um sich hier auf die Bühne zu stellen und Songs zum Besten zu geben, die dann auch noch eine Aussage haben. Was bedeutet Haltung für Musikerinnen und Musiker? Was meinen die beiden?
If you don't have the right attitude to express and tell your story, then the story will not deliver to people. And I think, unfortunately, especially in the music nowadays, you have so many competitors, let's say, because a lot of people are now also able to make music, so many different types, but also music. Then, without the right attitude, you will not able to reach the right people also.
Ich habe mich am 3. September 2020 mit Francesca und Manuela unterhalten. Hier ist unser Gespräch.
Could you somehow describe what is actually the European Union of Musical Competition for Youth?
So I would say shortly, EMCY is a network of classical music competitions that was founded in 1970. We are a network of around 50 members. And from each competition, we promote one prize winner. And what we do, we try to find projects for these prize winners, because what we think after, winning a prize of a competition, this is not the end, this is only the beginning. So we try to create innovative projects all the time. And one of these projects is musical storytelling.
Who supports it?
Our organization is founded by the members, so our members pay a fee each year. But of course, this fee doesn't cover a lot of things. So we try to get finance from the European Union mostly. And also from, let's say, Germany, but it's a little bit hard because our name is European Union of Music Competitions for Youth, so they always say go to European Union because they have more money. This project is co-founded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union, and of course we had to apply for some other sponsorships. So this project was co-financed by the Bezirksausschuss 7 and 5 and Becca Kids Foundation.
And how did you two join the union, the EMCY?
I started in 2016. I was looking, after I finished my university, I was looking for an international experience. And European Union has a project that it's called, for the moment, European Solidarity Corps. And I applied to EMCY for 1 year volunteering, and after 1 year they hired me. And Francesca,
That's what I actually did, and I'm doing right now. So I'm in my 1 year volunteering service. That instead of spending in Italy, because it's where I'm from, I decided to move to do an experience abroad. And I thought EMCY could really give me what I was looking for in Italy, because I was always into the music sector, but I could never have like a proper job. It was always volunteering experience just for my passion. So I was like, I'm very into communication and to music. So why not to put all these things together and also to work for an organization that makes musicians like grow. And also it's the interesting part, I guess, when you work with so young people that they're really at the very beginning. So
So I would say this project, it's kind of a FSJ, the volunteering.
It's like the European version of this.
A musical FSJ.
Maybe.
Yeah. But then this is the other cool things that FSJ, you can do it in many different sectors. And when I was looking for this project, not for this project, for this kind of year, then I started looking for many organizations for different fields, and this one was very into everything was interesting in. So that's why I decided to come here in EMCY. But it's just 1 year for me, so it will be almost over. And I'm already planning what is the next.
Had it something to do with sort of love to music?
Yeah, sure.
In your cases?
Yeah.
I would say that I've been to only one classical concert before I joined EMCY, so it was a very nice experience from the beginning, like going in tours with musicians, just, meeting with people from other countries, from Europe, and just to listen to their music. And they are so talented, and it's awesome. It's captivating you all the time when you just see how they play and the passion they put in their music. It's awesome.
Yeah, and for me, exactly the same. I know for you could sound super strange, who are these two kids that really never listen to classical music, but I think it's not really required to know all these technical aspects about music when you work with this thing. Of course, we always have in our team people that they give us the music, the knowledge about what we need, but our job is a bit more in the organizational part. So we bring together people from different countries. And also for me, of course, I'm super passionate with music, but with the classical, and also was a super discover for me, because I never really listened to a lot of classical music. And after this year, I find myself at home listening to these very old / classical pieces, and I'm like, who I am now, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. And also because they kind of make me discover it through their life, because also when I go on tour with them, I spend hours and hours with these people, and they also teach me. Sometimes, for example, I cannot really go into a song because for me it's very far, you don't really reach the content, and then musicians or also the tutor tell you the story behind and what it is. And after 1 week that you listen to the same pieces, then you really appreciate how it is. And for me, every time magic and also new, but I think it's a cool part.
Can you tell me something about the project Musiker Storytelling?
Yeah, so last year EMCY applied with this project. That is a project that wanted to create bridges between marginalized people and Europeans, because we know that marginalized these refugees or people with disabilities are living in the society, but we don't know exactly what are their stories, and sometimes they just live in the suburbs, so you don't interact with these people. So we wanted to create connections via music, that is the universal language. And it was a very nice experience in Munich. The project, it will be until 2022 and has 6 activities. One was already in Munich, and it's going to be another one next year in June, hopefully. The next one should be in Luxembourg, and then we should have in North Macedonia with Roma people, and in Lithuania with people with disabilities.
Do you know who got the idea?
Actually, this is not the first project that we have with marginalized groups. Before EMCY had a project that was called Give Music a Future, that was to play for marginalized groups, not to integrate them, But this time we said like we should change a little bit the approach. Instead of going and playing for them, we should make them play with us because it's nicer this way.
What we are doing now in Munich, what we just did actually, it was one activity of the whole project that will last for years, and as like international partners like this Lithuania, North Macedonia, and Luxembourg competition that we have in our network. And in Munich, what it was, this activity had this partner that are like Bellevue and Refugio, so they build together like this part of the project with us. That is exactly the beginning of what is going to be.
And I would say in the other countries, for example, in Luxembourg, they will work with Caritas. So the marginalized groups will come from Caritas, and of course the workshop leaders, because our partners, they don't have knowledges about how to interact with these groups. So we have workshop leaders that are coming from this organization. They have that have a strong background in working with these people, because it's not easy to start talking. You need somebody that can help you introduce like the
right way to build also relationship and things. And as I said again, and also for me it was kind of new because I never worked in an NGO in this way. It's interesting how you have to create the puzzle that is such a big puzzle, putting together like very different knowledge and people, sometimes even countries, and then at the very end you create this kind of soup or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes I also feel a bit stupid, and I'm like, I don't have the knowledge to do this and that, but that's just your part. And also for me at the beginning was kind of overwhelming, but now I'm like, okay, I have this thing, I can do this thing, and then they will teach me, I don't know, how to deal with these people that maybe I never did it before. But for me, like, I will put my musical part and I will put my organizational like skills on the level, and I think like if you just do a step behind and you observe the whole project, it's very nice also because there are so many parts like all together creating this thing. And also this was kind of our goal at the very beginning, because when you write a project you also need to take time to select who you want to work with and to create the story that you want to tell. So this was basically our part.
Have you had before this project, have you had anything to do with refugees?
So as I said before, we played for refugees, so we've been to refugee camps. But we what was the project before Give Music a Future, we tried to bring the classical music to people that don't have access usually. So that's why we've been to these refugee camps, or in hospitals, where in schools where the pupils were coming from different backgrounds. We didn't work with refugees before, but it was very interesting also because we had to be very careful not to ask some questions that might start something like a trauma, because they have really, really interesting stories, and their trip to Europe, it's always been like very difficult. And we started to talk with them, and of course we always had to be careful. And at a certain point they came to us and they started telling their stories, and of course after that the music was easier to be produced, because these migrants, they had to play with the classical musicians, and of course the musicians are also very young, so for them was like, I don't want to play this thing, I don't want to do this thing. But after talking with them and learned about their past, they literally started feeling
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
a group, like we start like 20 strangers, and of course you spend 12 hours a day with these people from the breakfast to the late dinner, and it's like really strange because of course you don't know them, and you have to, at the very end, that was also the purpose. We had to perform like in these two venues that we said, and we had to create the show from zero because nobody knew before who was going to be the attendees of the project. So it was like we don't know the song, we don't know like the musical program, we have to create it together. So I put like my lyrics that I wrote, even maybe about my crazy past, and I put my talent on just music, and then we build a song together like never heard before. So coming back to the first question, like for example for me, I had some experience with migrants and refugees in my city, because where do I live? In my building, some flats are reserved to like a social flat. So my neighbors were like migrants for many years.
Which part of Italy?
I'm come from Reggio Emilia, that is a very small city close to Bologna, so kind of in the north of Italy, in the middle of this huge field. And what I discovered is that usually these people take time, because of course they had trauma, they had crazy experience that sometimes you cannot really even imagine, so you can never understand when you can say something, when it's better to not say that. And of course I always had a lot of time because they were my neighbors, so I could spend days and days with them. And more you get in relations with these people, more they will open to you, and also it will be easy. So for me it was kind of a challenge to do everything in 10 days, never see these people before, we have to perform together, we have to look like a band, we have to also kind of spread this message to the audience, of course, and for me it was crazy. And of course I kind of have also the opportunity to talk personally with some of also the musicians at night about the feelings, and I could really see how the first days was like a bit strange, also maybe the difference of age. Sometimes even happened that 18 years old guys that grown up in Luxembourg is not like an 18 years old guy that just travel around Europe for years, try to like find some peace in some country that he doesn't even know which one, And so it's very difficult. But then after some days, you kind of spend a lot of time together, and you open up about things that could be your past, but also maybe the music you're making, So just listen to these things, and this was the only common things that we all have, like passion for music and to produce music. So I think after already 3-4 days, you could see how the vibe was completely changed, and they were all like so together, so much on creating like a crazy show that they have to perform, and then you don't see the difference anymore. It doesn't really care anymore about who you are and what was 3 days ago.
What was very funny, at a certain point we were in the city, and because of Corona it was very hard to eat together. So we said, this is the budget, everybody goes to eat wherever they want. So in that day they went in different groups, like the people from Luxembourg with Luxembourgish people, the one from Germany, German groups, they created their groups. But afterwards, let's say after we performed the first jam session, that it was also for them like the first time on the stage, they became friends and they started getting together, and the group got mixed, and it was so beautiful to see these things, because in the end what EMCY does is bringing people from all over the world, let's say, and after some days they go in separate ways, but they have new friends, and some of these friendships, they last forever. I would say, like, I have one example. I met some musicians 4 years ago, and they texted me now, like, oh, I moved in this city and I knew this person that I did a tour, and it was my first friend here, and it was so awesome. But this is very nice feeling, like when the musician come to you and they say, like, oh, I still talk with this person.
How did you get the participants who took part in the workshop?
So the partners of the projects are in charge of bringing the participants. So I would say that in this project we have 3 partners, Lithuania, Luxembourg, and North Macedonia. But because of Corona, North Macedonia is not allowed to enter the European Union, and Germany is on the blacklist of Lithuania, so they had to stay in quarantine 2 weeks when they came back, when they were supposed to come back from Germany. So they decided to cancel the project, but we continue with more participants from Germany, and these German participants were also the migrants. So we had participants from Brazil, from Nigeria, Syria, Iran,
Libya.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But how did you find them?
It was through Refugio.
Okay.
Yeah. So Refugio had different projects, and also with Monaco. They had projects before with these people, and through them we found them. We basically launched a call for musicians because we are quite desperate. 1 week before the activity, we needed these participants. So in the end, we didn't know who's gonna come, and we are very happy to have these people.
Yeah, I would say that this was also kind of a strange time. Of course, so we were very, very close to cancel the whole project, at least this activity, because of course this Corona restriction. And at some point we look at each other and we said, let's try to make it happen anyway, And also I think, and also, much before when we create the idea, we want to have partners from also different parts of Europe, because I think this was also another level of the integration and the solidarity. The Europe itself contains very different situation, and put guys from Luxembourg with guys from North Macedonia is already a huge exchange. Plus, of course, all these migrants from different countries and also continents. So, the sad aspect was that these people could not come, and at the very end, I was okay, this will be tricky because we really have just young people from Luxembourg and some from Germany, plus these migrants. So, it's kind of unequal, the numbers of the participants and everything. So we have to be more collaborative and more patient on everybody requests, because also they have different music style and everything. But then I was nobody knows what's gonna happen in the next 3 months, so let's try to make it happen anyway. And so maybe it was not a huge integration that we want to have at the very beginning, because we missed some countries, but then at the very end was incredible how they really became friends. Even if I'm from Luxembourg, at the first 3 days I just eat with my friend from Luxembourg, and this is nice, that's what I want to do. And then after some days it was we are all brothers and sisters, and we just want to spend much more time we can together. And so I was very happy that we managed to make it anyway. Even the expectations were a bit different and maybe also bigger, but and I think they all like it. And what I always said also to Manuela, that sometimes they are still 18, some of them even 15, and they complain for so many things, and you are oh guys, let's try to be all collaborative, and it's so nice what we are doing anyway. But then sometimes I felt thinking, I think they will really realize, the precious that we share. Maybe not now, because also you are so stressed about produce the music, to, create everything and to hit a stage in some days. But then what is gonna really give you this project, you probably realize when you go back home in your comfort room, and you're there, and you then, you feel okay, so everything I have, it's not really for granted, and it's something that I should really fight for, and I think some of them already realized it during the last days, and so many really nice things happened between us, but also will happen in the next months, I say.
What was your first impression as you got to know the participants?
So it was pretty difficult with the migrants to create this connection. But as I said, the music itself, it's the universal language. So this was the moment when they performed the first time on stage. Somehow it created the bridge, and afterwards it was much easier for everybody to communicate easily. What I would say, my first impression for some people that I said they were pretty spoiled. And these migrants were always saying, like, you should be happy that you have this opportunity. I would say about the food, they were complaining about the food. And some of the migrants were saying, like, you should really appreciate that you have this food tonight. Because, some of them, they still live in a refugee camp. They still have really hard conditions. They are not allowed to work. So the whole show, everything was somehow to realize the people in Germany and all around Europe that they can work and they want to work. And the whole message of the show was around this topic. It was very nice, but it wasn't that easy, let's say.
Yeah, as I said, I'm always already, like, in a personal way, very paranoid to harm people with words, because can happen, of course, that you don't really ask the right things. As I said, I really got in touch with many migrants in the past years, and so in a way what I was doing, like, all the time was always, like, asking them if they need some help from me, So you kind of put yourself completely to them, and also to kind of being a listener, because sometimes they really need to tell something to someone. Also, they feel really lonely for many periods, I guess, in this refugee camp. So, I try really to be just myself and to be, like, helpful with every little things. I found myself to like being the babysitter of this amazing son of one of these women. And for me, I was also telling this to Manuela, it was completely new. I have like a 2 years old kid always in my arms, but then I was thinking how good is for her to be able to be here and to think about the music. This is my workshop, this is like what I want to do. And probably like in the last 2 years, she always had to have in mind about this kid. She didn't really have the possibility to say, this night I will take it for myself, I will have a babysitter, and these things. And so you just like give your time as much as you can, and also your feelings, I would say, to these people that really like you can also easily connect, just taking the right time to do it. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me was hard at the very beginning, but then after sometimes it was just something that I really love to do. So it was amazing to stay with them so much time.
So I would say, like, of course, the whole project had the musical part, but it wasn't only the main purpose of the project. So we had different parts where we had workshops, for example, about dancing. So each country had to present something from their culture. So it was very nice for them. And this is how they open up a bit. Because, of course, why would you like to talk about the country where you cannot go anymore? Because it's not nice there. But what we wanted to share the best parts of that country, like to share the nice memories about the country. So we tried via dancing, and it was pretty nice. Everybody was like showing a move. I myself, I was a dancer in Romania, so I tried to teach something Romanian. Then we had from Italy Francesca, and from Germany we had Liv. It was very awesome. And then we also had presentations about the countries, and we had some basic questions. For example, how do you celebrate a birthday in your country? We also didn't know from which country they come from, so we had to show also in the map. And they were so also these people from Africa. They were like, "Where is Luxembourg?" They didn't know where Luxembourg is.
Of course, and they keep asking it for days. So where are you from? And it was so nice that sometimes we felt like Nigeria. I also sometimes I don't really remember where is all this country really in the map, even if I try to be the best in geography. But then they are the same feeling with us, and then you feel okay, you also don't know where is Luxembourg, how is it called, and you don't actually really care about it, but you care about this guy that played the trumpet, and he's called Daniel, and he's just your best friend because you're making music with him, and so what's the point? But of course, after some days also, you start, and one sentence that I will never forget. It was one night drinking beers with these Luxembourgish musicians that I also knew from another project, so they were kind of already friends for me. And they told me Francesca, I cannot remember again after 4 days. I'm asking the region of Nigeria Prince White is come from, because really I'm so bad with memory. But you cannot imagine how much I'm reading in those days after the project, because I feel kind of obliged, if I have to play their music, their style, to know more about these cultures. And for me it was bingo, that's the point. Sometimes also I'm very curious as a person and I read a lot, but sometimes we don't have the time or the energy to discover more or to get in touch with also kind of far cultures, because if you've never been in Africa, you can also ignore so many aspects of this thing. For example, my sister spent 1 year of her life in Cameroon, and when she told me so many things, for me it was really strange, of course you can always read, you can talk with people, but then living there is another thing. And it was so nice that they said really, I feel obliged now to know more, because if I have to produce music with them, if I have to also make their style, I want to know more about how it comes from, and what's the purpose and the message that you want to deliver, And for me, that was already enough for the day. I was like, okay, I can go to sleep a bit more happy and satisfied than yesterday. And so sometimes you can think, so what's your job at the very end? And maybe our job is just to try to make them connect, even if sometimes they really don't feel, they are we would like to take 1 hour, maybe some of them, they are also playing in bands and they want to have their moment or to practice their song, and we are no, now we dance all together, we do these things, or even we play cards, but you can discover a lot about someone else also without not pushing that much this intercultural exchange, but just doing what you usually do. And for me it was super, super fascinating.
I would like to say one more thing. What was very nice, because we had this little baby with us all the time. So the mother was playing music, and Francesca and I were taking care of the baby. And the nice thing it was that at the end of the activity, the group from Luxembourg wanted to give a present to the baby, so they bought a drum from I think it's African style, because one of the person that played it was a drummer, and the baby was all the time looking at the drummer, and he started doing the moves as a drum player. So everybody said, okay, we just need to buy something to this awesome kid, because he was really adorable all the time. And I think this is one of the best things. You see some people that at the beginning you said, oh, they are so spoiled, they come from a rich country with a lot of benefits, but then you see the change in them, and it's really nice for the project to see this thing. As people that wrote the project and thought about it, how to make it nicer, and then you see the actual action.
And also because also they are super talented and also kind of mature, I always forget about their age, and they are all around 18 or less. And so I think maybe when I was 15, I didn't have the possibility to have a so deep exchange with different people like they did in this experience. And so I'm sure that it will be so helpful for them, not just of course about music, but also about life and expectation and everything. I think when you have the possibility to to be part of a little change in our mentality to so many young people. This is like the goal of what we are doing.
It's fascinating what you're talking about. Could you maybe describe the structure of the workshop?
So basically how we start all the projects, we create a schedule, and it was actually required from the European Union, from the Erasmus Plus, to have a really good schedule. So at the beginning we wanted to have some icebreakers, so this is what we started. It was a game where you had to say your name and then an adjective that describes yourself. So for example, Francesca was funny Francesca, and I was moody Manuela, and everybody had to repeat all the others. So we were in a circle, and each person had to repeat everybody. So if it was Francesca had to repeat Mohammed the Magnificent,
and everything.
It was very funny. So we started with icebreakers, and then we had each day a non-musical workshop that was planned a little bit to build, like, to have stronger connection afterwards. Of course, so each day they had musical part, 6 hours of music, and then 2 hours of non-musical workshop. And in the non-musical workshops, we basically played games, little games. Mostly they are on the Salto website of the European Union. So there are a lot of games that can be played with people, just to help them build connections. Yeah, what was very funny, like, the European Union should update this website because it's not corona safety.
Yeah, sure. It was also this was another trick, of course, that with corona restriction we should always be care about many people in the room, the touchy things, and sometimes we felt very like how can I say, stopped because we want to be much more connected and hug each other and give us more strength, and was a bit difficult, so we tried to do this thing. And I guess you were also wondering about the musical part, and as we said at the very beginning, it was more on Wasim, but I can say that was very nice that every day he bring like a collaborator that was like planning a musical workshop with him. So also because of the corona, but also for the structure of what they were at the very end as musician, that we also get to discover with him during the time. So let's say that the workflow for the first 2-3 days was like, okay, so what do you play? What do you want to play? And what do you want to express through this final show? So at the very end, we were super lucky also because this we couldn't know, we had this entire band from Luxembourg that were like a drummer, a trumpetist, a bass, and
a keyboard.
A pianist, and so basically what was at the very end, these migrants and these other participants were more like the singers, so they changed themselves with the song, and these musicians were like playing mostly for them. So let's say that the first 3 days also with the collaborator, they were kind of split. So one was more about making music, and the other one was more about writing lyrics and create a message that they want to deliver to the audience. Because also for some of them was the first time like rapping in German, so maybe it's a new language for you that you don't really know perfectly, but it's already like the one where you want to express yourself. So we had this super nice guy from EMCY that I will pronounce very bad. It's like
it's Michi Han.
Yeah, this German, actually Munich-based band that mix like classical music with the hip hop and rap. Yeah. And so, for example, this guy was more working with the group of the lyrics, and so they were like writing and exchanging also opinion about what they want to communicate through songs, and while the band was like rehearsing more about the music part, and sometimes we just like met together to like check the program. I was like structured, but also like, this is another thing that I felt kind of strange, because also I participate when I was younger to project like this. When I was there, I always felt like that were so rigid, like from 8 to 9 you have to do this workshop, from 9 to 10 another workshop, and you have to go there and there and there. For us, it was like, we also had like this amazing location for the workshop that was like 3 floors just for us, like a Jugend Centrum in Neuhausen.
Media Centrum.
Yeah, so we had a lot of space that we could use, a lot of different rooms. So in a way, the workshop were never really structured, It was always like, okay, we have one purpose, that is like to perform this show, and we have different workshop leaders, but then you can always feel free to say, okay, today I want to write about this, and I want to do it with this person. So in this sense, they were very, very free of do whatever they feel more. And sometimes they were too free to be that young. It was like, so what can we do now? And I was like, yeah, like, so you kind of have to put them together, to make them realize what is the right path. So like, for example, so tell me about what about the song at the moment, what you're missing, so just to be that kind of listener again that will give you this feedback from the very outside. So
what was very funny, we also had one participant that was into classical music, so for him it was even more difficult to think outside the box, because they are also like, when they have the repertoire, they need to play this piece and note by note, and then like this participant felt like an outsider because the band was into jazz and it was easy for them to, let's say, connect with the African style.
And also to improvisation. For him was like, what is improvisation? What should I do? And we were like, that's the thing, you should like find your little part in this song that it doesn't sound really your song. And that was also the crazy thing, that we made it at the very end, like the final song of the program was like a solidarity song that was a completely brand new song that one guy already like kind of taught, let's say, but then was also like changed with all the other participants, and all of them had like the piece of rap or like their like solo of saxophone, like this classical music guy. And for him, for us, for example, was not that easy. Like he came to our room where we were like usually staying, like so many times I completely frustrated, like I don't know, I don't have anything to do, and this was our like kind of purpose that no, you have to find your little piece, your little like place in this thing. And sometimes I think it's much more easy if you have someone like let's say, and now you play and you have to do this part, it's 30 seconds. No, the cool part of this project that it could be like maybe too much unplanned, was really these unplanning things that we all stay together and we find a way to make a performance at the very end, but without really know anything, like nobody could ask us who was like planning to come. Of course we knew it from the beginning, but we couldn't really know their style, both because of course the musicians were like at the very end couldn't come from these two countries, and also about the migrants because they are really traveling a lot, so sometimes you cannot plan that they will come with us for the project. So also this was a bit tricky, but also I guess the most interesting part that really we couldn't really plan before what was the musical program. So you have to stay there, you have to talk with him, and someone will say, no, this is my part, I want to make it like I want. And then you no, because if also I have to add my part, this have to mix in a way, and yeah, it was very like crazy.
Yeah, like with the migrants, it was a bit complicated to know from the beginning who's gonna come, because for 1 month they live in Munich, and then they got sent to they will be sent to another city. And actually we had two migrants that had to come from far away, and it was very nice in the end because we could offer accommodation, and yeah, they were very happy to know a little bit more about the other people that came in this project. But yeah, it wasn't easier. It wasn't easy.
but yeah, beautiful at the very end, like especially when we were always there, like from 10 to 15 hours per day, so sometimes you don't even have the time, or at least for me, to say, am I doing right, I'm doing enough, should I do different? But then like you always like with people around, and you
while babysitting, because this was very funny.
This little kid amazing with us, and so you, as I said, also for me today when I supposed to talk with you, I was like, wow, I didn't really have the time for myself to think about what is going to be. Tomorrow I will leave for Italy, so I was like very busy at the office in these 2 days after the project. And also for me, I think I will really understand the real value of this exchange in the next weeks. And I will really go back thinking about what happened and what we really make together, and it's great, really.
What I really think now, because I had a little bit of time to think at night, in Romania, let's say the situation it's not that good like Germany. I would say the salary is still not that big compared with Germany, and I was thinking all the time, like, Romania is a poor country and my family wasn't that well in Romania. But now when I see these people and see how they live now and from where they come and everything, I just think I'm so privileged to be able to have food, to be able to have a place where to sleep. And yeah, this is what changed, I think, in all the people that were there. In their mind, because you really say all the time, like, oh, I don't have enough, I don't earn enough, and things like this, and then you look at them and they say like, oh, I should really stop saying
and
this.
It's also something that now, like when you can hear that, it's like so obvious. Of course they don't live like us, they don't have our possibility, but it's never obvious like in the time where you're sharing everything with them, you know, because really, honestly, I also had this experience before, because I was really living in the same building, but for so many of my friends in Italy, it was very difficult to get in touch with these people, because really you don't have the possibility. This is the other thing, unless as you like doing volunteer for them, you know, they are never integrated for real in the society, that you can meet them, for example, not even at the supermarket, you know, because they are really not even able to have money to pay something. And for me, this is the trickiest part, and also the saddest part, that you really consider them on a different level. And maybe it was a very special week for sure, but at least in this week we got in touch with them in a normal way, like exactly like us. They were sleeping in the same hotel of us, and we were all together all the time. And in this way, like the experience that this young musician did, it's not common, unfortunately. It's not something that we find it very easily around Europe, because it's really difficult to have an experience with these people that are on our same level. Like also in Italy, for example, I was working in this association, and we were like creating Italian lessons for refugees. But it was very hard, for example, to keep them after the lessons to stay with us and drink a beers and, I don't know, relax, or, for example, cure our urban garden like we were doing it, you know, because the society itself make them always a bit like separated from us, and it's obvious, but it's also terrible, of course. And I think with this project you really like can get in touch of these people, and also like can have some like normality feelings, if it could sound okay to say. And yeah, I think integration would have been made of these things. Actually, it's the only way for me, because also with the language program, for example, like I cannot talk in German, like almost, and some of them were like super good with German, and so we could barely like communicate. But then like this was like the best way of exchange, you know. It's not about like talking the same language, but it has like the same feelings about one thing that we are doing together, you know. It's not like I'm teaching you these things, and then I don't know, you are learning, and then you will go to your place, blah blah. It was like really being on the same level all the time, and for me it was this is like the integration, how we should thinking about it.
When we wrote the project and we asked for partners, we have of course our network, and we said, okay, to our main partners, you should go and find some partners in your country. So we went to Refugio and to Bellevue de Monaco, and also Bellevue de Monaco has the same idea. Instead of pushing these refugees outside of the city, you should put them to live in the middle of the society so they can really integrate, because it's so sad to just put all the people outside and never see them and never talk with them. And yeah, it was very nice to have this opportunity via the project, to just have all these people together all the time.
How was the experience with the concert and everything? Was the concert on stage, for the participants, for the refugees, for the migrants, was it a positive experience, or was it something
so
difficult?
I would say with the concert it was very difficult because of the corona regulations. So it was always crazy to have this 1.5 meter when you need to play, you need to listen to what the piano is doing, what the bass, double bass is doing. It's always crazy. So that's why music, you need to be together. But on the stage, we managed to have everybody. And I would say the people were so happy to play the music, because it was also an opportunity for them. As I said, they always produce lyrics that have that would like to be heard by people from the government, because they are put in this refugee camp. They receive some money per month, but they don't work. They don't pay taxes, and they really would like to do this thing. Just, it's going to be such a benefit for the society if they will start working and they will start giving back to the community. But yeah, this is so stupid in a way that the government doesn't let them work. And the message that was in almost all the songs was this thing, that they are in Germany, they learned the language, and they want to work, and they are capable to work. So for them, I think it was a great opportunity, because at the concert that we had at Minatil, we had the second mayor of Munich that came, and we also had the Kulturreferent Anton Bibel with us. So we had some very nice people in Munich that I hope they will take the message and they will help them to do something in the future.
Yeah, and just to add another little details, because I'm a very emotional person usually, I found very crazy this moment when one of these guy after, of course, I had to know his story, that it's like a very crazy one, and I'm always scared and worried about every little things. Even if I have to talk in front of my parents both together, I'm like, oh my god. And then I'm like, okay, after you had so many experience in your life, you get through so many difficulty, you will be able to do everything, and kind of this was my kind of let's say jealousy in front of these people, that I could see them so strong in front of my eyes, and then when they had to hit the stage, they were so worried, because of course it was something new again, and I don't know if I really delivered the message, but sometimes I was looking at them and I was thinking, these people are invincible, after all this struggling, you can really do everything. But then hitting the stage is a new emotions, and also because it's like putting yourself, what you are and what you write in front of other people, that for example, when it was us, it was always so easy, and then when we also was kind of how can I say, lucky, because we had this first concert that was just live stream, because supposed to be in the Bellevue courtyard, but then was raining a lot, so that was already kind of final rehearsal of what is live. Also, like, we had to be always on the stage, now it's your moment, go. Sometimes they were so much into the music or their song that they forget. Of course, also the last song was like a huge, like, group work. So we had so many, and again, because of the corona restriction, we could always be able to stay really few people. So it was always, and now you go, and now you clean the microphones, and so many feelings, and for most of them was a new experience. As for the musicians from Luxembourg, was like everyday life. For them was really new, and yeah, I think it works amazingly. Really, like.
Yeah, I think we had like some young talents that performed for the first time on stage, but some of the migrants already, they are very quite famous. Let's say for Bellevue de Monaco, they always perform there, and they have their own audience in Munich. And what was very funny, that at Bellevue de Monaco, in the end, because of the rain, we said, okay, we do the live stream only, no audience. And it was so awesome to see that people were still coming, and we had to say, like, sorry guys, it's only live stream because of the weather and because of corona, we cannot let you in. And in the end, it was more like a party for us, the first concert.
Yeah.
Because after the performance, it was such a beautiful thing to see all these people celebrating. They had the first concert and they were really, really happy that they did it. And yeah, what was very nice, that of course some of the people, they have their families still in Africa or somewhere else. So for them, it was so easy, just look here, I'm gonna perform tonight. And yeah, the idea of the project was also for all these people that are in the project to send it to the family, because the families could not come and see them. So, look, Mom, I'm playing this song. I know that maybe you don't understand the language, but it will be nice to see like what I'm doing here. Like, it was a moment where they shared their happiness.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, also the day after Minatil, we had preferred to have such a huge sun, but was not that nice. But also for me, for example, I also discussed with Manuela a lot, when we arrived there, Minatil, so there's just a tent and it's all open air and everywhere it's wet and it's difficult to do it. For sometimes me and another leader we were working with, we were like, maybe we should cancel, and it was basically the only one concert with the audience, because already Bellevue was like live stream. And I was so into this idea because I thought it was much struggling for everybody. But then, I don't know, everybody found his little energy, like the guys at Minna, to completely rebuild the tent, to not make, allow the rain to enter. And all the musicians themselves, they just like put together wooden pieces and everything to create a stage. And then for me, like, was that kind of energy that was obvious that we need to make it happen, because they couldn't like do without, so we had no other chance to make it. And yeah, like it was also amazing how many people were there, even with this with rain, not nice weather at all. And yeah, I think all the struggling it just disappear when you see the energy on the stage and how they love to do. It's just.
Would you say in the end you managed to get the participants so far that they are in a way able to express their attitude in a way?
Yeah, I think they really did it, because we had some really nice people from Nigeria, and when they went on the stage, basically all the audience started like dancing, and it was such a nice rhythm, and they really gave the passion of their song to the audience, and it was such a nice feeling also to see the audience is really enjoying what they play, and it was very cool.
Yeah, and of course, like it was not a conventional program because there were a lot of different things in that, like from classical pieces to jazz, love songs. Because, as I said, it was such a very free week. So even if, like, of course, at the very beginning we start saying, okay, our main topic is solidarity and of course love because it's universal. We also would like to have a musical program that is like have a coherent message, but then also we want to leave you be free to express yourself. And at the very end, the mix was very strange, of course, and I could see some people in the audience that maybe never really listened to Afro music, or maybe they were not into jazz at all, but also this mix was very captivating for the audience, I guess, to just come and see, as I said a lot,
so many types,
come and listen to their stories, because that was the program about. It was not just one music style, but just like what they want to share with the people. And I think even if sometimes I find myself really judgy about this musical style or the other, and I'm like, no, I never listened to these things, and it was not the case of this music at all. I love everything, but I could see that in the audience there were some moments where this is very new for me, but then they couldn't stop dance, and they couldn't really miss this vibe that was really I don't know what to say, vibrant. And yeah,
I would say my boyfriend after this week, because he also helped us with everything, he's listening to these Afro songs every day. He comes at home and he puts the song first, and we start dancing in the house, and it's such a nice thing to see, you learned about this new music, and it's beautiful.
What do you think? How important is it to have an attitude as a musician, as an artist?
I think
nowadays,
I think it makes everything. You need to have, I think, a certain charisma, and I think our musicians, they really had this thing. They had the possibility to give a certain vibe to the public, and just to bring everybody together. So at a certain point they were saying, and now everybody up and clap your hands, and they were clapping the hands, and now let's move and dance and jump, and they really did it, at least the people in the tent. Because in the tent we had limited places, of course, because of Corona, but also outside the tent there were people that were really enjoying everything.
Yeah, it was really crazy and full in everything. And thinking about the attitude, I would say that for me, what is always matter are the stories that we are telling, of course, because I also kind of we are all looking for stories, to catch the message in a nice way, because then if you're not able to tell something, it's difficult to follow you during the time. But then, of course, if you don't have the right attitude to express and tell your story, then the story will not deliver to people. And I think, unfortunately, especially in the music nowadays, you have so many competitors, let's say, because a lot of people are now also able to make music, so many different types, but also music. Then without the right attitude, you will not able to reach the right people also. And I think this was a nice thing. Also, we could see musical storytelling, and also the attitude itself, I think, changed a lot, during these 10 days, and also something that you don't born that way. I think you can always change it and work on it, and so I think attitude.
I think also because some of the participants, they rap, and of course when you rap on the stage, you need to have a different not attitude, the position of the body, how you do it, and they really worked on this thing as well. And I would say one person came at me and said like, I never go on the stage with the same haircut, like I'm always changing my haircut, I always change my clothes, and they were really funny to see like how much this thing matter for them. It's of course they want to be seen, and I think they have the right attitude to be amazing artists.
Hut ab. Ich war nach dem Gespräch total fasziniert von den vielen Anekdoten, die sie vom Workshop zu erzählen hatten. Ich finde das Projekt so spannend, dass es durchaus sein könnte, dass ihr bald eine zweite Episode zum Musical Storytelling bei Atti-Tune hören könnt. Mal schauen. Das war Atti-Tune. Wieder mal ging es um Musikerinnen und Musiker mit Haltung. Wenn es euch gefallen hat, gebt mir Sternchen bei iTunes, erzählt Freunden und Bekannten von meinem Podcast. Anmerkungen, Kritik, Vorschläge für die nächsten Episoden könnt ihr gerne in die Kommentare schreiben oder mailen an atti-tune@gmx.de. In diesem Sinne, bewahrt Haltung und stay Atti-Tuned.